What in the world happened here? So, make sure you guys smash the living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. So, I was digging through, best-selling today on TCG Player, as I like to do before we sit down and we look at these videos, and the hidden Hecahands was on the first page, and then I clicked page 2, and guess what? It's back. It followed me. So I peeped into the sales data because I was a little bit curious. When you start to see a card moving up on the top of the page, you get a little bit curious. There have been a lot of movements, specifically over the last 3 days, of the hidden Hecahands in general. Now, I don't know if this is because somebody thinks that they have some absolutely amazing tech build running around, but a couple of things that we do know. The Capsule Monsters card from last night actually is some pretty hilarious Hecahand support, but this card was already starting to move in quantities before this was actually happening. Now, we don't actually have a real reprint slot for these cards, and also if you dive into Phantom Revenge, Hecahands Ibitels are like $4 a piece. Honestly, a lot of the stuff in general for the Hecahands deck is not very expensive. I think it's kind of what's got people gravitating towards wanting to pick these cards up. They see cheap, accessible cards, and I don't really blame people for this, honestly. I think I'm more surprised that it has taken this long to see something like this start to develop, but hey. So I guess this is my heads up to everybody. If you've been debating on Hecahands cards, right now with what you're kind of seeing in terms of market developments, it might start to be a $5, $6, $7 card over the next couple of days. I'm a little bit curious about that. Exosister Carmel. This is, I think, just kind of a symptom of Exosister cards. Well, once again, we get into the cheap department here. People look at Carmelia, and the first thing that they're going to think is, I gotta get this before that new Dark Rebellion monster comes out. I agree. Having Carmelia for that Dark Rebellion monster that you can mode change into, for a deck that shouldn't have access to the potential overwrite for effect, yeah, it's kind of cool. It's what? This and Ophion are your two big targets, but we know this. So why is Carmelia popping up on best-selling right now? It's because people saw that Batmater got the reprint. And once again, where else are we going to see Exosister cards receiving reprints? I also think a little bit of this has to do with Genesis format as a whole. It's a very cheap archetype that you can kind of step on into. I mean, obviously, there's points associated with it, but it's not crazy amounts of points. So if you're looking at picking up Exosister cards, everything is completely cheap. I would say, honestly, if you were looking at building Exosister, you're probably going to have the same price point on Exosister, maybe a little bit more than the price point of Hecahands being associated. Both decks kind of run in the same budgetary tier in terms of value. And obviously, a lot of the value is just going to kind of be in the random monsters that haven't been reprinted. Obviously, for Exosister, it's Carmelia. For Hecahands, I mean, it's kind of the whole deck. So, I don't know. That's also kind of cool, man. But you've got to remember, you have future application for the mode-changing dragon to be able to go to this, which creates a centerpiece on an end board that's going to have a lot of people wanting to test it out. So this is nothing that you've not heard up until this point before. Which brings us to the Fallen and the Virtuous. This card is a hot topic of discussion right now, especially with the OCG ban list right around the corner. Fallen and Virtuous has, I would truly say, been one of the more defining points of modern era Yu-Gi-Oh! Because it's a mini engine card that you can splash into a deck that provides you with a ability to either spot removal something or Monster Reborn something. And there's also cases of, you could Fallen and Virtuous pull into, or end phase Fallen and Virtuous bring back. Then you can Monster Reborn back a piece that you need for your combo while, still having another Fallen and Virtuous in rotation for the next turn. it gets pretty crazy when you look at this card. Right now, the card is settled at about $9 to $10, which that's about what this card's been at most of its price point. But I wanted to bring up, especially this week, as we're heading on into, the real possibilities of the OCG ban list starting to creep up a lot faster. We're going to start to see more discussions kind of turning inwards on this set, or this card in general, especially, Albaz as a whole, because Fallen of the White Dragon has become a very defining part of the format as well, but, naturally builds, we might actually see a limitation on that. Don't even get me started on the idea of what if Konami limits, something like Fallen of Albaz. How does it affect the Fallen of the White Dragon? But that's a story for another part of the day. So right now, this and Ecclesia the Dark Dragon are both amazing cards. They are defining points of today's meta. If you happen to see in a couple weeks the OCG ban list does something to this, or the TCG wants to do something to this, I wouldn't be surprised. But also, I guess that takes away their value of reprinting this. Contrast Hero Chaos. Man, this is another one that we have looked at before. What is going on? So you guys can thank Konami. Glorious Gallery came out. They punted the opportunity to make Contrast Hero Chaos a Starlight Rare, and they missed Shadow Mist as well. I cannot believe how much Konami has just whiffed on their hero game this year. It is so bad that if you're a hero player and you're looking back at the old Hero Strike has no real value right now. Looking back at these old structure decks, what are we thinking is going to turn up some value in Hero Strike? Actually, looking at Hero Strike as a whole, guess who's the best-selling card? Yeah, it's Masked Hero Chaos. And then, of course, Shadow Mist has some value. I guess Ocean has some older format application, Mass Change. But those are the three biggest cards within that structure deck. And the crazy part is these structure decks are $70 a piece sealed. If you're not singling out to get a Masked Hero Contrast, you have to spend $70 to waddle your own 2 feet over to this product to pick those up. Take a second to think about how messed up and disproportionate that is to the current reprint pool of cards. I guarantee you, Hero Strike was a structure deck that sat on shelves for literal so much time. And it was also one of the structure decks that Konami actually did the unlimited print run for. And you know what? As time went on, nobody wanted those unlimited prints, and here we are. We're sitting on a structure deck that is literally bum worthless. You need a $5 card out of to play Hero. And, we have some ultra upgrades coming in monsters, but are you gonna reprint Contrast Hero Chaos in Ultra in that set? I mean, that's totally worthless and shouldn't literally be a thing, but it probably will be. And then Chaos Origins. So we are skirting on along here. Chaos Origin reveals will be this month. You're going to have a lot of people wanting to jump on this set. A lot of people are going to be very excited. Right now, boxes are just 7 cents short of $90. $89.93 is lowest. And honestly, this set, a lot of people are excited for. It's basically a core set with the redesigned formula where we're going to be bringing in, a new look to the way core sets look. Upgraded Starlight technology, updated, everything. And I'm quite excited to see how Konami is going to market this. I want to see how Chaos Origins as a whole is going to shape things up, and how the TCG is going to handle these extended arts that are going to be coming with this. I actually want to see what TCG Grandmaster Rares are going to look like, but I think we're still a little bit away from seeing this. Also, Mind Shuffle is about to become a very real deck, so you're going to have people freaking out needing to get their Gravekeeper's hand traps. Stop Mind Shuffle. That'll be crazy to see the WCQ, how the impact on that is going to work. But from what we are dealing with here, people, I think we are in for quite a surprise with how Chaos Origins is going to do. But please, take a second to leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys are thinking. And I really am looking forward just to seeing how a lot of things are going to be changing here. You guys have a good rest of your day, all right? Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.